Police officers and first responders wear badges to let their communities know they are here to protect and serve. But it comes at a price. Samantha Horwitz and John Salerno work with police departments across the country to bring valuable recovery, insight resources, and workshops. A Badge of Honor TV brings those professionals to you so we can come together and revitalize communities through a better understanding of what's at stake and what's required for repair. So take a load off and turn up your TV. It's about to get real.
Hey, welcome to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. It is Mental Health Monday, and I hope everybody is getting or trying to get at least mentally healthy. Each day is a gift, so we got to stay precious with that. It's no need to sit on a couch and wither away, man. There's too much out there, too much opportunity, too many support networks out there that are there to help you. And, speaking about support networks, Sam, you just got back from the TMPA in Houston and, met with so many great people and organizations. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So if you're in Texas, you might know what TMPA is, but for everybody else, the Texas Municipal Police Association, they had their annual conference in Houston. It was great. Thank you to everybody at the hotel. Besides trying to freeze us out, it was really good. It was freezing in the hotel, and they had like record low temperatures. I think one day it was only 88. Folks, talking about the weather is not what we normally do, but we're in Texas and it's usually 100 plus, which is this week we're on par.
Yeah, and up here in the Dallas area, I was outside doing yard work. I was sweating bullets.
Totally different 4 hours from here. The weather just got weird. We're not going to revisit the floods, but there's still, the jury's out on what happened there. So, the biggest thing about TMPA is, first of all, they raised a lot of money for the organizations that assist officers, and ran into a lot of great people that we have done programs for before, as with a Badge of Honor, as well as other conferences that they were first introduced to what we do at a Badge of Honor, or the nonprofit connected to a Badge of Honor TV. And focus was not only on mental health, but also a lot of teaching protocols for the police officers. That's how they get their continuing ed credit.
A lot of the peer support stuff?
Not a ton of peer support stuff. There was two other organizations there. We all know each other. We're in the same circles. And so they know that we're there. It was really nice to see some of the younger officers there. So they came with their families. The kids were adorable. They went to the Astros game, but they really did a fantastic job. Got to spend time with Mike Barron, Blues PD magazine. If you're a police officer and you are not reading the Blues PD magazine, you need to sign up and get it. He's over 1 million subscribers worldwide and growing. And it was just really great. Lots of patriots, lots of first responder families, just everybody came together. And so kudos to TMPA, Clint McNair, Brian, and all the entire staff. First class.
Awesome.
Really good. Yeah. And one of the things that we always talk about with the officers when they come over to the table, besides asking, hey, what do you guys do? Is, just talk about what they have in the department. And some of them, depending on the size, have peer support. Some of them have, EAP, they go through the city. So they're open to talking about it. Some of them have absolutely nothing. And, our guest tonight, it is refreshing to see like the fire service becoming more proactive. If you go onto the International Association of Firefighters website and lots of other websites that serve firefighters, they're in it. Like they're discussing, John, what you said as you were growing up in the firehouse, and then retiring as a chief. Like, you guys get that time together, and
yeah, you got that kitchen table talk, which means so much.
You do, but from talking to firefighters, some of the houses are now set up where you've got individual bunk rooms. So there's no one big bunk room anymore. They have their own spaces. And so a lot of folks are retreating to their space and not talking. And our guest tonight has 30 years of service. He's active, a firefighter in Ohio, and he has put the hardest stuff to talk about as a firefighter, as a first responder, in a book called Unseen Battles right here. We're going to bring Tommy on the show right now. Tommy Bolin, welcome to A Badge of Honor.
Welcome, Tommy.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, before we dive deep, tell everybody watching and listening on their favorite podcast app a little bit about you, your background.
Yeah, absolutely. So you talk about that Texas weather. I think we got some of your Texas weather here in Ohio this weekend, because it was 104. It was 104 heat index this weekend, and it was hot. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Tommy Bolin. I'm a 30-year vet in the fire service. I still serve in Central Ohio as a lieutenant paramedic. Got 3 boys. Been married to my wife for 31 years. I don't know how I did that. I mean, she would have left me. She had every right to. When I was
those 24s keep that relationship alive.
Dude, I'm telling you, I got about a year. And I'm done. And I was like, every third day you get a break from me. Now you're gonna have me around all the time. You're gonna wish me going, go golfing or do something else. So yeah, but no, yeah, it's so I'm getting close to retirement, and it's been a good year, or it's been a good career. But it comes with its challenges, and I'm sure we're gonna get into that here in a minute.
Yeah. Tommy, you're in Ohio, correct?
Yep. So
each fire service throughout the country, and this is what really gets me too, is you have a lot of rural neighborhoods where they dwelling fires and rain and grass fires. Then you have like Long Island where you have brush fires, and then you have like the city where you all have high rise. Everybody's got a different demographic in the structural firefighting. What is Ohio like?
Well, it's all chopped up. Like we surround. We're on the suburb of Columbus, Ohio. So you got Columbus. So we run with Columbus. We don't run we're kind of like outskirts. So we don't run downtown with them. Our area has a little bit of everything. We only have one high rise in our area. But we get a lot of, we got a lot of farm fields. But we also have a lot of, $1 million homes over there too. So we get anywhere between the little Cracker Jack box houses, on slabs and everything, right up to the taxpayers in downtown Hilliard and stuff like that. So we run on a little bit. We got 2 major freeways that runs through our area, a lot of backcountry roads. So we see a lot of auto accidents, a lot of trauma from that. And but we get a little mix of everything, honestly.
That's good. Yeah, keeps everybody on their toes.
Yeah, well, the mix is good. I mean, we, training, whether law enforcement, fire, we train for the mix, right?
Right.
It's when your book highlights when we're in the mix. Yeah. And then the mix is like, I'm envisioning a bowl, like everybody, this is the girl in me, the mixer. So, the things that you bring down, it mixes up.
You're such a girl. You don't even know it. A blender.
Those little twirly things, the blade, or the paddles. Yeah. The blades,
the paddles. And when it's quiet time, when you're not on a run, and those paddles just keep spinning. I'm going to hold it up again. Unseen battles. This is for every first responder family member, to really understand, not only the life of a first responder and a firefighter, but the key insights that you bring forward, some of them downright heartbreaking, and the stories that are in there that you highlight. The secondary title is called The Price of Duty in a Life of Trauma and Sacrifice. And that's
powerful.
That's exactly what it is. I mean,
that's powerful, man.
Yeah, we're paying a price. Because we are in a life of trauma, and we do sacrifice a lot. And, when we come back from our first break, I'd like to dive into some of the stories that really impacted you and what made you write the book.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So we got to take our first break here. So, we're talking about first responders, and it is all about, we have a choice. We have a choice as consumers out there on how we use our voice as a consumer. And if you're part of the big three in terms of your cell service, you know who they are. Did you know that when you pay your bill every month to them, that the money goes to whatever causes or whatever they think is important? Well, that might not align with your values. So now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values as first responders and veterans. Our votes simply are not enough. And Patriot Mobile, they not only share our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. They're America's only Christian conservative wireless carrier, and they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about, like a badge of honor and other first responder and veteran causes. Okay, so if you switch to Patriot Mobile now, you get a free month with the promo code BADGE. Okay, so you go to patriotmobile.com/badge or call Patriot Mobile, which is 972-PATRIOT. They'll answer, say, hey, I'm using promo code BADGE. You get a free month of service. But on top of that, when you call as a first responder or first responder family member, you get additional discounts as a thank you for what you do. And like we're talking with our guests, living the life of trauma and sacrifice. Okay, this is the difference between Patriot Mobile and everybody else out there. Patriot Mobile, you pay them every month, and your money comes to organizations that give back to first responders and veterans. So again, it's really easy. Go to patriotmobile.com/badge. I'm going to put this up on the screen here. Every dollar you spend is a vote for the values you believe in. A free month, use promo code BADGE. Again, schedule your appointment online or call 972-PATRIOT and tell them a badge of honor sent you on over. So with that, we are going to go back to the show. Back with Tommy.
Hey, welcome back, Tommy. Welcome back to Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam. If you're just tuning in, we have Tommy Bolin, 30-year veteran of the Ohio Fire Department. He's a paramedic. Fire department and the police department are two, as you see, they are two different animals when it comes to mental health. Inside the firehouse, it's almost like living at home. Your brothers and your sisters are in that firehouse with you, so you feel everything that they feel when it comes to family issues at home, outside the firehouse. It's just like someone, you're dealing with an upset family member inside the house. So you have to learn how to fight those battles. Police department's a little different. You can get in your car and you can take off, and those people don't really talk until they get back to command. So, Tommy, tell us a little bit about, with unseen battles, if that's what we're talking about, what goes on inside the firehouse when it comes to mental health?
Well, I'd like to back up a little bit. So,
Sure.
It's probably when you came in, John, too. When we first came in to this profession, you were kind of told, if you can't handle it, you might want to find another career, or do the whole suck it up, buttercup, all that kind of stuff. And it was just a terrible way to deal with it, because the only thing that does is it just allows people to bottle this stuff up for so many years. And you understand that a lot of this stuff is not just the traumas; it's the accumulative effect of not just the traumas, but the sleep deprivation and the insomnia and the chronic stress that goes on with this stuff. And if we don't deal with it when it happens, eventually it's going to deal with you, and it comes out in horrible ways. And that's kind of what happened to me. It was just that whole 25 years of just the unresolved traumas, the chronic stress, the sleep deprivation that a lot of people don't understand. I mean, I don't know what a normal sleep schedule is. I've been I'm 31, almost 30 years. I'm 30 years into the service, and I just don't. I don't know what we'll do with myself in retirement. I hear people that retire and like, man, I didn't realize how bad my sleep was until I get 4 or 5 months out of the fire department and realize how good my sleep is. So it's a combination of everything that goes on that we just don't deal with it. I think we're getting better at it. I know our department's we have a peer support team. We have guys that actually, you got to watch out because it is a brotherhood. It's a family. We live with these guys every third day. I mean, I know their kids, I know their wives, and we're better about kind of watching for those changes in behavior and being able to talk to people. And the crazy thing is, people want to talk. It's just they don't want to be the first one to come out and say, "Hey, listen, I'm struggling," And it is crazy to me because we see, and you guys know the numbers. You see them. We've got more first responders who are dying by suicide than they are in the line of duty.
Yep.
Right. And this is not weakness. This is from a mindset and a system that is broken. And until we change this culture, we're going to continue. We're still seeing the numbers. And the sad thing is, I'm not even talking about just the suicides. I'm talking about the thousands of our brothers and sisters out here who are struggling every day with the drinking and the substance abuse and the failed marriages and just being stuck in this hole that they never think they're ever going to get out of. Like, this is my life because I was there. And we see it. We're still seeing it. And we got to change this culture, because if we don't change this culture, if we don't do something, it's going to continue going right down this path.
That's why we see our first responders after retirement, either 20 or 30 years, when the ride stops, they last 5 years. They get to enjoy 5 years of retirement, maybe they're at a pension, but all of that 20 and 25 and 30 year stress, failed sleep, drinking, everything that they did for those 30 years took such a toll on their body, either mentally or physically, and it caused so many different issues.
Absolutely. And that's the thing I talk about. It's like when the end of service should not be an end of support, and a lot of times we forget about our retirees. Once they're gone, they lose that brotherhood, they lose that camaraderie, they lose that purpose, and I talk about that a lot in my book, that we all need purpose, and I had to find that. And like this, what I'm doing now, I'm going to continue this into retirement. It's giving me a whole new outlook and a whole new purpose in life. And a lot of times when you separate service, you just it's hard. You lose that brotherhood, you lose that camaraderie, you feel like you lose your family, and you feel like you lose purpose. So we need we need to continue to support these guys too.
Yeah, well, that's the whole concept of becoming the job.
Yeah.
And I think that is part of definitely the change in culture that we need, because if you go back, I'll say we're all seasoned. We're not old. Mm-hmm. We're all seasoned.
Thank you.
And you're welcome.
I'm halfway to 102, by the way.
They look pretty good. That the firehouses have changed. So we in a lot of cities, we've gone from, big bunk rooms, okay, to now there are actual departments that have everybody has their own individual room.
Yeah.
So is it fair to say that kind of gone are the days where we all sit down and have a meal together after a bad call because the meal got interrupted, so we're coming back? Is it fair to say that has a lot to do with it? Not that we need big bunk rooms again, but we need the conversations to continue.
Yeah, and I think that depends on the department and the station. If you get, it depends on the crew you have. We have them. We just built a new firehouse, getting ready to open up here any day. Individual bunk rooms. The other two stations, individual bunk rooms. I'm at the only station right now that still has an open bunk room. So we spend a lot of time together, and it does force you to kind of sit out in the day room and things like that. But if guys want to get away and isolate, they can do it. It's not. I don't know if I think it's more of the department and the crew that you have. If you have that cohesiveness with the crew. I mean, I got a really good crew now that we do a lot together during the day. But I have been on crews where, guys you'll see them at lunch, you'll see them at dinner, and you'll see them on runs, and the rest of the time they're in their rooms. And I think I think that could be a part of it too. I don't know if that's the main issue, but that's kind of one of those questions I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, you see a lot more of the younger guys, kind of being going to their bunk rooms, maybe, just disappearing and maybe playing video games on their phone or whatever, and not really conversating with the senior staff.
I mean, I see a little bit. I know I've heard a lot about, a lot of this new generation just, not wanting to interact that well. But I mean, I don't see it that much at my department. We have a few that will kind of isolate a little bit, but I really don't see it that much at my department, honestly.
Well, that's good.
That's really good. And I think that's part of, your mission where you say, hey, this is how a well-functioning firehouse looks. We got to take our next quick break. We'll be right back with Tommy after these messages. Stay tuned.
Look, when you need to respond to an aggressive situation to protect yourself, your family, or your property, understanding your firearm and legal position are critical. Officers know your skills are only as good as your commitment to training. So know what you're doing. So when you're in a vulnerable situation, we can count on your response. Whether you're a beginner or a licensed gun carrier, Carry in Texas offers basic firearms training, Texas permitless carry courses, license to carry, and basic 2A courses so you can understand the responsibilities, situational awareness, and learn the technical skill required when you carry your firearm. Go to carryintexas.com to find the right course for you. Join me, former United States Secret Service agent Samantha Horwitz, on the range for beginner basics, LTC prep, and range practice. Go to carryintexas.com today. That's carryintexas.com.
Hey, welcome back to A Badge of Honor TV with John and Sam, and our guest, Tommy Bolin, with the Ohio Fire Department, 30-year veteran paramedic. As we were discussing, the situations within the firehouse, as you state in your book, the unseen battles. We're talking about younger generation firefighters to the senior guys from 30 years ago. 30 years ago, it may have been a little bad because it was a suck it up, buttercup type of attitude, but that's all we knew at that time. Now it's a little bit more, it's a little different because people are starting to understand mental health. But Sam, you brought something up before, and it kind of, I wanted to see how to word this without saying it the wrong way. We become the job, right? And you said we become the job. And as a first responder, I think we have to, in the aspect of, because there is no other job in this world that is so demanding, so physically and mentally demanding as a first responder, either police officer, paramedic, firefighter, correction, whatever you do. There's no job that's so physically demanding that you have to become a part, or you're going to get somebody else hurt. So you really have to engulf your whole life into the job. It's how do you find that division where you can, that separation where you can stay focused on the job, but still keep that mental health.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Tommy, I mean, you write about that in the book. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, when like I said, I got to the point in my life where I just had to be done hurting. And the problem is we let this stuff accumulate over time, and we never dealt with it early on in our careers. I think that the problem with the first responder community, it's just the whole stigma, right? The whole stigma around pride and egos, right? Is that kind of what you guys are talking about right now? Just the whole, I guess I didn't understand the question.
Well, like when Sam said, we have to become the job. And then, when we become the job, we don't know anything else but the job.
Right.
We hang out with firefighters, we hang out with police officers, we hang out. But there is a point where we have to kind of disconnect, but really stay connected. You know what I'm saying? But for the safety reason for us and our brothers and sisters, but we also have to be able to disconnect a little bit to take downtime for ourselves.
Correct.
And we don't know how to do that. We don't know how to do that.
And we don't. And that's what I saw. The funny thing is when we first came into these professions, we were taught, hey, you gotta learn this whole thing called compartmentalize, whatever the heck that means. I don't know. You're like, hey, you leave you leave the firehouse, you leave all this stuff here at the door, and it's all BS, right? It's all, you take that stuff home with you.
Absolutely.
How can you not, and the problem is you got to learn to disconnect a little bit from that job. It's very hard. It really is very hard to do. And that's what I write in my book about, trying to live more of a resilient life of, trying to work on the mental health aspect of it when you're at home, because my poor family, I took this stuff home with me, and I didn't, they were, and I could go back to some stories and stuff, but my poor wife, I mean, I remember coming home one day. This was probably back in 2000. Oh gosh, 2015 and 19 was very tough for me. That's when everything started really coming to a head. In about 2017, I remember coming home one day, and I was just I was out on a day drink, and I was drinking a lot. I was drinking a lot to try to self-medicate, try to just not to feel and honestly to sleep. And I remember coming home one day, and I was just bawling my eyes out on the floor. I opened up and I was bawling my eyes out on the floor, and I was begging my wife for help. I was like, honey, I don't know what to do. I'm miserable, and I don't know why. And she wanted to help me. She just didn't know how to help me because there wasn't anything out there, back in, even as seen it like back in 2015 and 16, 17, there wasn't anything out there for the family. She had no idea what to do. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to turn to. And so we got to be better about first of all, dealing with it early. We got to deal with this stuff when it arises and not let it accumulate over time. And my problem was with my whole pride and ego, I didn't want to allow myself to look weak in front of my wife, my kids, my coworkers. And until you humble yourself, until you're vulnerable and actually say, hey, listen, I'm struggling with this, that's when the real healing started for me. So people have to be done healing. I can help people. I could guide them. I could say, hey, listen, I could help you on your journey, but it's your journey. So people have to be done hurting before they actually are ready to change, and they have to change. And that's kind of like individual. That's everybody heals different. We all have different experiences, different upbringing, different chemical makeups in our brains. So
right.
You have to be your own. You have to be your own advocate. It's hard sometimes to separate the job and family life, but it's so necessary. It's so necessary.
What did you do, Tommy, before you became a firefighter?
I was actually a factory worker. I worked in a factory for about 5 years. So,
all right, the friends from that factory, right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure you guys hung out after work, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But you ever see any of those guys anymore?
Nah, I talk to them every once in a while. Just one of my old bosses. That's about it. But I haven't seen him in years. So
right here's where part of that root cause is. We surround ourselves with first responders on and off the job. Mm-hmm. So barbecues, family outings, mm-hmm. Date nights, whatever it is. And what do we talk about? We talk about the wreck on 45. We talk about the kid we pulled out of the pool. And it just never ends. It's 24/7. And if we do go to a party someplace without first responders, what do they say? Hey, Tommy, you're a firefighter.
Yeah.
Hey, what's your biggest call? Did you ever see a burnt body? It's just an unnecessary evil, and you can't get away from it.
And I felt bad for when I come from, my uncle was a firefighter, my cousin was a firefighter. I got another uncle, another cousin that was firefighters, and whenever we would get together at these family events, we would be talking about all this stuff. And of course, my wife and my brother and my cousin, they didn't understand it. They felt like they were left out, because we're just going over all this stuff. And I felt bad for them because it was like, my wife's like, all you guys do is talk about the firehouse when you guys get together. That's it. That's all you talk about. How can you
talk about a dead body when you're flipping burgers?
Right, exactly. And that's
Nobody
what we
understands.
Do. Yeah, that's what we do. Yeah.
Let me ask you this, because you are a member of the International Association of Firefighters Peer Support program. Yep. How is their proactive approach to mental health overall?
Well, oh man, so I got a story on that one. I think they're doing a good job on awareness, but the problem, I actually had an issue not too long ago. So I don't know if you guys know this, but Ohio, we still don't talk about mental health in the fire academies and the police departments and in the paramedic schools. It's not part of the curriculum. Now, I do have schools call me and say, hey, listen, will you, because they know how important it is, and they'll have me come out and talk to them, which God bless them for doing that. But it's not part of the curriculum. So I've been
in the academy.
Yeah,
in the academies you're talking about? Really?
Yeah, no. And when I go out and I present to departments or I present to in seminars and stuff, I'll ask people like, hey, how much time did you guys spend on mental health? And they're like, nothing. We never talked about it in the academy. And I'm like, really? I said, well, how much time did you spend on rolling hose? And they're like, well, 4 or 5 hours, but it was an 8-hour class, so let us go early. The problem is whenever with the curriculum in Ohio, and it's probably the same in every state, to add hours, you have to actually go through the Ohio Revised Code and change it through legislation, and which blows my mind. And but my thing is, we don't have to add hours. We just need to restructure it to where we put in the mental health aspect of it, because really, let's be truthfully honest, that's what's killing us. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, people die in fires, people die in auto accidents and stuff on the freeways, but the biggest killer of firefighters is the mental health aspect. And I'm not just talking about the suicides, the cancers, you know, the heart disease. That's all from chronic stress, sleep deprivation, unresolved traumas, all that comes, and that's the top 3 killers of firefighters. And I know the police are the same way. And so my thing is, we got to get this stuff early with these kids in these schools and go from the top down, but the bottom up as well. And I kind of went around it the wrong way, but we had a big Ohio conference not too long ago, the IAFF conference. And I asked one of the union guys, I said, hey, can I get 15 minutes of their time? I just want, because nobody would talk to me. I'm like, I want to know where we're at with getting this curriculum in schools. And we went back and forth. And finally he told me, well, it's not part of our political agenda this year. And I'm like, wow. And of course, I handled it the wrong way. I got pissed. And so I reached out to the National, and the National kicked it back down. And I met with a guy. He was awesome. We met for probably an hour in his office in downtown Columbus. And we talked about this, and I didn't realize how slow government works, you know? And this guy's like, listen, Tommy, we're on the same page. We want the same thing you do, but it's just because, you know, you want to attach it to this bill, but also everybody else wants 10 different things in this bill. And it's just like pulling teeth. And the IAFF has done a really good job with, you know, the cancer presumption laws and things like that. We just need to get there with the mental health part of it. And
you can get new equipment and stuff all day long, and the biggest, the baddest, the coolest. But if you don't have the people that are well to fill the spots,
right.
Yeah, we got to take our break for a station break. Got to take our station break, and we'll be right back. This is a quick one, I promise. We'll be right back with Tommy Bolin. Stay tuned, everybody.
Leftovers again. It's time for something we haven't had in a long time. It's time for something right. It's time to make the right choice. OBBM Network TV is always the right choice. Choose right.
Hey, welcome back to a Badge of Honor TV, powered by the OBBM Network, by the way, with John and Sam, with special guest Tommy Bolin, a 30-year veteran with the Ohio Fire Department. You know, before our break, we were discussing the mental health aspect and the political aspects that go along with it. Every department sees it: police, fire, EMS. They all have that. They all battle that uphill staircase to try to get the best for their people. And like you said, it sometimes gets knocked down. You surprised me when you said that mental health training is not taught in the academies. And that blows my mind, because I'm sure they spend more on integrity and if you steal or if you drink, but you know, but on mental health they do not. And I can't see how they wouldn't make that a priority.
Yeah, it blows my mind, honestly. And I'm not saying everybody. Like Columbus Fire, they've got their own peer support facility. They send these guys down to the academy. These guys talk to them, and they bring their wives in, which I think is so important, because it's a family thing. You know, this wasn't just a me issue. This was a family issue. And so they bring their families in, and they do it right. But the other smaller academies around Ohio, it's just not, you don't really talk about it unless that school decides it's important and they bring them in. But it's not part of the curriculum. It's not.
Let me ask you.
A drop ship of this needs to arise.
Yeah, let me ask you.
Crazy. I think
So Tommy, let me see if I get straight. A guy, new cadet goes into the academy, right? He does his 12 weeks, whatever he does for the academy. He comes out, he gets assigned to fire department, firehouse, right? When does he receive any training after that, or is it if God forbid something happens, or does he have to go on his own? How does it work? Or do
like
they wait till that?
We call it a critical incident.
Or do we have to wait till that critical incident?
Like
yeah. So no, and the thing is, we got so many departments in Ohio. It's just it depends on the department. It depends on the academy. It depends on we got a great peer support team. I belong to 3 different peer support teams. I'm part of a metro team of 80 some peer supporters that we get calls from all other departments. Like if they have a critical incident, they'll call a handful of us in. I got a therapy dog I take with me, Finn, and we'll go talk to them, and we'll do this. We like to call it, it's just more peer support. But it depends on the department. It depends on the leadership. It depends on the leadership. I know some departments that no, we don't need you. We're good. We don't need you. And like I said, it's just not uniform, all encompassing.
Do the rookies know that because in the academy, as a rookie, you're told, hey, listen, if you want your benefits, you know who to call. If you want this, you know who to call. So day one on the job, and it's not even a critical incident. It may not even be a critical incident. Maybe just a crazy car accident where there's blood. No death, but we don't know their resiliency. We don't know what this, how strong this person is at the point. Certain things could bother them, not bothering somebody else. How do they know to go ask for help, or how do they know when to ask for help?
And again, it depends on the department. Our department does a great job with it. When we hire new recruits, we have a peer support guy that sets them down and say, hey, listen, here's your peer support guys. Here's a lot of resources if you ever need to talk to somebody. And we lay it right out for them. But there's some departments out there that they don't, and it just
wait
on the departments. Yeah, they just wait. And it depends on departments. I know other departments that the leadership is just hey, your mental health is none of my business. I've heard it's
and that's common, and it's more common than you think across the country. And that's why you're writing books, and that's why here at Badge of Honor, that's why we're trying to get the word out to maybe try to change it a little bit, make a difference and get these departments to think. These young first responders aren't the first responders of years ago. They're not the ones of 30 years ago coming out of the military or, have a high resiliency. We're looking at COVID kids. We're looking at kids that, this is
behind a screen, which explains the separation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And we have to teach them. We have to better educate them so that in 30 years, they're not going through the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what we're trying to do with everything that we're doing right here in this advocacy. My book, it's really laying it out there. I wish I would have had this book when I was, 24 years old, just coming into the fire service, because, you just kind of muddled your way through and you just never talked about it,
Yeah.
What made you sit down and do this? Write the book?
Yeah. So it's I'll try to shorten it here, but, so there were several different incidents that happened throughout my career that really stuck with me. But I told you about the incident with my wife when I was sitting on the floor with her. And then the next incident came when I came home one night. I talk about it in my book. I came home. I was just struggling so bad, and I didn't know why. I didn't really understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling, because, I'm a professional. I can handle this stuff. This is what we do, right? This is our life. You got to handle your stuff. And so the next one came. It was a night of drinking. I was trying to just drown myself every not on duty. I never did on duty, but I was drinking every day I was off, and to the point where I pass out. And I came home from a night of drinking, and I just decided tonight's the night. Tonight's the night I'm gonna do it. And I grabbed my gun and I went to my basement, and I had my gun to my head. I had my finger on the trigger, and I was actually praying to God to forgive me. And I was praying for my family to forgive me for what I was about to do. And I was ready to do it. Hey, call it what you want, higher power. But in that moment, my son came home at 2:00 in the morning, and I never know when I'm going to get emotional, and I'm not going to apologize for it. But
No.
yeah, but my son came home at 2:00 in the morning, and I heard the door open, and he came downstairs, and I laid my gun down and acted like I was asleep. And he came down, and he wasn't stupid. He was home from college. I mean, 2:00 in the morning, you know. And he walked over. He said, "Hey, Dad, let me take that from you." And he took my gun, and he went upstairs and took all my other guns and hid them, and then came back down and sat with me and talked with me for about 45 minutes until I fell asleep. And in that moment, you know, God wasn't done with me yet, and my son saved my life that night.
You're getting me emotional because what a great kid you got there.
Oh my gosh,
they
dude!
see so much, and they
wow.
get it.
Yeah. And you know, of course, that didn't, and that still led me down this path even more, because now I'm thinking Father of the Year. What son should have to see that out of his father? And I put my kid through that. But you know, the funny thing is, it's still even to that. You know, I'd seen multiple therapists over the years. You know, I always got to, hey, call EAP. The problem with EAP is they would put you with the therapist, and several of the therapists, they meant well, but they weren't trauma informed. They didn't understand the world we lived in.
Right.
And it was more detrimental to my recovery than anything. So even after that incident, I didn't go get help. I muddled through for a while after that. And the one that got me, honestly, was I came home. My son was driving me and my buddy around we were at a Firefighter golf outing, and he was being my 17-year-old
driver.
Yeah, my 17-year-old son was picking us up. Father of the Year, right? Father of the Year. And something trivial happened, and you know, I was dealing with a lot of anger too, and I just blew up on him. I was texting him throughout the night. My wife texted me, is like, "Listen, stop texting your son." And in that moment, you know, when Mama Bear gets involved, you know you're in trouble, right? And the next morning, I went to the firehouse and opened up my text messages, and I saw what I was saying to him and the vile things that was coming out of my mouth, and it just broke my heart, because in that moment, the only thing I had in my life and purpose in my life in that moment was my kids. And in that moment, I felt like I lost them. I felt like I lost my kids, and I had nothing else to live for. And like I said, this was back in 2019, but I Googled firefighter mental health, and the first thing that popped up was the IAFF Center of Excellence, the COE, out in Maryland, in Marlboro, Maryland. And I sent it to my wife, and I said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And she said, "You need to go. You need to go." And what she wasn't telling me was, "You need to go because I'm done. I can't keep doing this." And I mean, the emotional part of this that I was putting my family through was just horrible. And so I asked her, I said, "Hey, will you make the call?" And she made the call. And when I got home the next day, she goes, "Hey, will you call this guy?" And I said, "Absolutely." So I called the guy. We talked. Within a week after that, I was on the plane to Baltimore, Maryland. I was there for 31 days dealing with a lot of my stuff. And it's what I needed, because, like I said, I had 25 years of this stuff in my head, just doing this constantly. I couldn't sleep, and I just couldn't shut my mind off. And I needed that disconnect from society. I mean, they take everything from you, and I needed that whole disconnect from society. And the classes were good. They taught me why I was doing the things that I was doing and the trauma that affects the brain. And they taught me some resiliency stuff on how I can live a more resilient life. But I'll tell you honestly, and you guys will understand this, one of the biggest things I got out of that place, and we joked about it, that the real therapy started at the fire pit after dinner. We get a big bonfire going, and I'd be out there with 20 to 40 of my brothers and sisters around the country talking about our issues, and just realizing in that moment that I wasn't alone.
Yeah.
I hear this so much from people that I talk to all the time. Like, man, I just didn't think anybody would understand what I'm going through. I'm like, brother, let me tell you, there's more people out there going through this than you will ever know, and you're not alone. And for me, that was one of the biggest things I got, was just knowing first of all, I wasn't going crazy, because I seriously thought I was going crazy, and that I wasn't alone in this, and that was huge for me. So
that's what it's really about, is that you do have your brothers and sisters that are going through the same thing. We just don't talk about it. We got to take our last quick break. We'll be right back after these messages.
Rise and vibe with your new elevated morning ritual. Meet Rise by Frequence. Frequency charged nutrition. Rise is formulated with a blend of 7 different organic mushrooms, B vitamins, amino acids, and green coffee bean extract. Rise supports brain health, performance, and focus while enhancing mood, mental clarity, and energy. Enjoy the delicious mango lemonade flavor while giving your mind the nutrients it needs. Get charged up with Rise. Fuel your body and mind today.
Hey, you hear us talk about it every single show. You can rise and vibe with me and John here at A Badge of Honor TV. We acknowledge the importance of your well-being, and part of that is having your mind in tune, because when it's in tune, everything in life plays more harmoniously. That's why we use Rise. We believe in supporting your mental health, and it starts with everyday choices. Put down the sugary energy drinks and pick up a delicious mango lemonade flavored, all organic, made of mushrooms. It does not taste like dirt. It tastes delicious. But you want to start your day with something that's going to fuel you, keep you calm. Even though it's an energy drink, it's made of good stuff. It supports your clarity, your mood. So wherever you are on your mental health journey, we are here for you. You can get your Rise. We put together packages for you. Subscribe and save now at badgeofhonorhealth.com. That's a badgeofhonorhealth.com. Shop Rise now, and you can rise and vibe with me and John. And now back to the show. All right. So Tommy, yeah, you know, we're talking about the story that you're sharing that super impactful in the book. You interview a lot of first responders that say, "Hey, I want to be part of this special project." I mean, what are some of the stories just in this last few minutes that we have together that kind of stand out for you? And again, Unseen Battles right here. You guys can get it on Amazon for sure. Phenomenal. One of the best books I've ever read. But what are some of the, you're very welcome, stories that impact you besides your own that, you know, I'm looking at, we got a lot of viewers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone impacted me, everyone. And that's the thing, John, you asked me why I wrote this book a little bit ago. And I was, you know, the thing is, when I went to Maryland after the first week, I called one of my buddies, Heath, who was part of our peer support team. And I said, Heath, he goes, "How you doing?" I said, "Heath, I'm humiliated. I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed of 50. You know, here I am, 48, 49 years old, and I've destroyed my life." And he said, "Tommy," he goes, "if you would just come back and be vulnerable and just talk about your stories, because you'd have no idea the lives you're going to help." And I didn't realize that, but when I came back, I did share my stories, and I did started to talk to people. And we did a video. My brother-in-law did a video that we put out back in 2021, and the response I got from that, from all these, and that's what when I say, hey, I did this first because the fire department was all I knew, right? And it really opened my eyes up to the struggles, not just for the fire department. It opened my eyes up to the struggles that anybody who serves on the line of trauma is going through. So this book, these stories, I didn't want this book to be about me. I wanted it to be about all of us. And I wanted to really bring awareness into the things that we deal with as first responders, and also nurses, doctors, people who live on the line of trauma, military people, you know. So this whole thing was to bring everybody together at the table, because it drives me nuts, because we got the police doing one thing, and we got the fire doing one thing, we got the military doing one thing. Just imagine if we could bring everybody together, bring everybody to the table to come up with these solutions, how powerful that would be. And we really need to look into this. So every one of those stories to me, Samantha, every one of them was powerful. And I was so honored for them to actually trust me to do this book. And like I said, it's not just, I didn't want it to be about me. I want it to be about the profession, and I want it to be about, you know, everybody who serves on this line of trauma, you know? Yeah.
Well, it's an incredible read.
Thank you.
You can go in, you're welcome, deep dives. It helps family members, you know, and not just direct spouses, but all family members we joke around. It's like, read the book, find out why we are the way we are. But it's true. It's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
it's I write in there too. It's for mental health professionals that want to understand the first responder's mind, because we need more culturally competent mental health professionals out there to deal with this stuff.
So you can get the book on Amazon. Again, I'll hold it up one more time. Unseen Battles. Okay. And then how do people reach out to you directly?
So they could go to my website, First Responder Support LLC.org. They could go, .com. They can go to on Facebook. It's actually Unseen Battles by Tommy Bolin. They can reach me on there. They can reach me on LinkedIn under Tommy Bolin, and then Instagram as well.
Okay. All right. You got it. And Tommy, this has just been eye-opening. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Man, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you guys having me.
You bet. Absolutely. And again, just keep sharing, keep doing what you're doing, because we need more professionals in all services, all first responders, to be able to just step up and say, do it for the folks just coming on. Because Tommy said that they have nothing in Ohio, but we really appreciate you coming on and sharing everything with us.
Hey, thank you guys for what you do too.
Thank you for what you do. Keep doing it, Tommy. Keep doing it. You're saving lives.
Thanks, man.
100%. We will see you soon. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Take care, brother.
All right. So again, go pick up the book. Again, Unseen Battles. For those of you listening on your favorite podcast app, it's spelled just like it sounds, Unseen Battles. And connect with Tommy on social. If this resonated with you, it should resonate with everybody, whether you actively serve, you're retired, you're a spouse, you're in peer support, wherever it is. And, connection is a big part of it. And we've got on our website, badgeofhonor.org, places where you can connect. But our calendar is up there. If you didn't know, a Badge of Honor, we do. We it's me and John and Jeff. So it's all the J's and Sam. That's what we do. It's like 3 J's and an S. But that's how we remember
J's. JS. J's.
And so we can put together a private wellness and resiliency workshop for your department. We can make it look however you want it to look, whether you want it open to other agencies. If you're a smaller department, we can do that. So you can go onto our website, find out where we are by clicking on events. You'll find our calendar, or go ahead and give us a call to schedule that workshop for your agency. For everybody that tunes in every week, thank you so much for your support. Hit the like button and subscribe, because Instagram, we love you, Instagram family, but why is it all of a sudden that unless you have 1,000 subscribers, you may not be able to do a live video? I'm getting these messages when I go to do a live. So we don't want that to happen. So show us some love, and we're on all the social media as a Badge of Honor with #1 on X. But just wherever you are, just hit like and subscribe. So we cover all bases, and we're able to continue to do live streams. Hey, everybody, mark your calendar. September 6th will be here faster than ever, because I can't believe it's August.
I know.
At the end of this week. It's the Dallas 9/11 stair climb. We are so incredibly honored and blessed to be the recipient of all of the funds that they're bringing in for the event this year. You can find out more by visiting DallasStairClimb.com. That's DallasStairClimb.com. They are also on social media as well, so you can connect there. And if you want to donate to them, great. If you want to donate directly to us, badgeofhonor.org, hit that donate button. It's right make it really easy.
The Dallas Stair Climb started small, 15 years. This is going to be the 15th year.
Amazing.
They are now the largest stair climb in the nation.
That is absolutely.
They are the largest. They have an amazing committee that goes out there throughout the whole year and make sure that they are going to stay the largest stair climb, because they want to support and they want people never to forget.
Well, we certainly will never forget. So we thank them again. Hey, if you're a first responder or retired first responder like we are, you like discounts. I'm going to hold this up. First responder discount card, right? It is really important. We've got restaurants, entertainment, shopping, sports tickets, automotive, new and used vehicles, national merchants, travels, and hotels that you can get discounts on. These companies are saying thank you to first responders. If you are interested in getting this first responder discount card, so it's got a little QR code, just go ahead and hit us up on our contact on our website. Again, it's abadgeofhonor.org. We've got a contact box up at the top, and just put in first responder discount card. We will tell you how to get in touch, how to get your card and start taking advantage of those discounts. So thank you, companies out there that support us. And thank you, Mike Barron, Blues PD Magazine, for the intro for these cards. It's a super valuable what's going on. Again, switch to your cellular service to patriotmobile.com. You keep your network, but your money goes where your values are. patriotmobile.com/badge or 972-PATRIOT. And John, there's so much more information we'd like to cover, but we are out of time. Thank you to all the first responders out there for doing what you do every single day, keeping our communities safe. Thank you to the veterans for fighting the good fight that allows us to do a show like this every single week. And to all the active duty personnel spread out across the globe, we hear you as well. Thank you for keeping our shores safe here at home. Take us home, John.
Yeah, I'm just gonna ditto what Tommy Bolin, our guest, said. Is remember, you are not alone. You don't know how much his story resonates with me and Sam. It almost runs parallel with so many things that we have battled and fought. And we hear the same thing from so many people from across the country that we don't even know, that we come on a show. It's almost like looking in a mirror sometimes. And I want to thank you, Tommy, for sharing that story. There's so many out there. Remember, you're not alone. Reach out, get help. And thank you for joining us here on Mental Health Monday on A Badge of Honor TV. Peace.
Till next week, everybody.
A Badge of Honor podcast is produced for the OBBN Network podcast and protected under copyright law. For content permissions, please submit your request to abadgeofhonor.com on the content page. For OBBN Network programming information, please call 214-714-0495 today.